So we're gonna kind of do a rundown of my portfolio right now and what we're planning on doing here going into next week, trying to rebuild this account from the losses we took from some of the YieldMax funds, and this is actually gonna start moving way quicker than I was expecting. So let's go and talk about what I plan to do here um, in the next coming week. So first of all, this is gonna be a rundown of what I plan to do here with my account. This is not updated here real quick. Let me fix this. So this is kind of a rundown of my core funds that I'm looking to hold on to in my portfolio. So we have YMAG holding out at my largest position of 45% of my account, running at about 600 shares, $11,000 position. MSTY is currently at 8K. I'm looking to downsize this to $5,000 position. Of course, these shares are wrong, which would probably put this around a 20% portion of my portfolio. And then we're gonna move money into SMCY. I actually took off $3,000 from MSTY and I moved it in $1,000 into SMCY, $1,000 into XDTE, and $1,000 into LFGY. Not sure about the LFGI. Oh, sorry guys, my cam broke. I'll just turn that off here. So I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with LFGY. I don't know if I want to get into it yet or not. Kind of just staying on standby as of right now, but it has enticed me a little bit. It's paid out pretty good these last 4 weeks, especially with crypto kind of being mediocre right now, holding flat, still paying a pretty good $2.50 for the monthly dividend there. Not sure if I'm going to go in on it yet. Not a crazy large position, but I am going to try and start an XDTE position, and I'm also really trying to grow my SMCY position here, as I think this is going to become the next MSTY. That is why I'm pulling money out of MSTY right now, as it's starting to slow down and start pulling it into more of a high momentum player like SMCY, which is actually currently the highest yielding YieldMax fund as of right now. A lot of people have failed to see that, but it is. Anyways, here's my portfolio. It is kind of just held flat lately. This is again that liquidation event I did of selling a crap ton of YieldMax funds. So kind of just ignore this. This wasn't any losses by any means, but we've kind of held flat since that event on the beginning of this year. So hopefully we can start retracing back up. I'd rather see this kind of hold flat right now while I'm trying to rebuild my portfolio than this just having a massive crater to the downside. But as you can see, we are holding out pretty well. Income is a little off right here. I would say we're probably at around $1,200 a month to $1,300 a month in dividend income. So not bad. It is more stable than what it was before. So alright, so let's go ahead and jump into why I'm doing some of these picks here. So let's go and talk about MSTY to begin with. Let me pull up my notes here. So yeah, so why am I leaving MSTY? So MSTY recently is starting to have a downcline in dividends. Of course, this is to do with Bitcoin pulling back, MicroStrategy's kind of pulling back a little bit. So I am still keeping an eye on this one. I do, of course, believe in Bitcoin. That is why I'm holding MSTY to begin with. So if Bitcoin starts rebounding and MicroStrategy starts coming up, if Bitcoin starts having a run up and MSTY can get back up to that $3 dividend, I'll still stay in this. But YieldMax seems to always fail to start paying out a high dividend like it used to. I don't know if we'll ever see $4 again, even if Bitcoin goes to all-time highs. It's just weird that these fund managers can't continue to do what they do best after the fund starts taking a downturn. They eventually just kind of give up on it, it seems like. So we'll see. Bitcoin has a run up, but can't get past $3 again, and they can't trade, and we start just seeing this thing start NAV eroding. We're just gonna bail out of it and move almost everything into SMCY, as that seems to be the high momentum player. Let's go ahead and pull up SMCY here for you guys and take a look at this. So of course this yields off 47%. That is wrong, but these are the last few months that they've paid out, and they've actually paid out in the span of 5 months $13.72 in dividends. So if you just timed that by 2, you're looking at like around $27 in dividends on top of like 2 extra months of like, let's say $2. So you're looking at over a 30, probably close to like a $31 dividend, which is going to run you at a yield of around 106%. So this is actually one of the higher yielding funds right now on their account. And why do I like this even more, and why I'm so happy Oracle showed this and just opened my eyes up to it, is that this used to be a $50 ETF, and now look at it, we pulled all the way back down to 28. So I would recommend this one highly to you. So anyways, yeah, let's keep going further here. So also LFGY is one I'm kind of keeping an eye on here too. This came out at $50 and has pretty much held flat at that $50 rate, especially with crypto being down a little bit. This still has also been paying out a pretty insane amount of dividends, $2.57 in the last 4 weeks, which is a really good dividend, way better than what MSTY's been paying out, and it's also been holding its NAV for the most part. But we'll see. We're keeping an eye on this one. I'm not too sure about this one yet. But I want to quickly run into the drip calculator here quick before I just send you guys off. And I want to show you guys why I'm starting to like XTTE, especially over XPay. If you show this out here, obviously XTTE is paying out a little bit better overall return, but I do believe these are both really good core funds to hold on to. But I also want to show you guys why I think XTTE is just overall general better than the SPY. You can see right here, XTTE literally runs identical to the SPY. You're literally gaining dividends every week, while the SPY you have to hold, and to actually see your gains you have to sell out of your position. So this is why I really think this is a really good fund to hold on to, and also a really good one to hedge to. And also, you guys may be wondering why I'm holding YMAG still. The reason why I'm holding YMAG still is I want to compare this to the NASDAQ, and it does perform really good compared to the NASDAQ, and I do like having NASDAQ exposure. I like having tech stock exposure, and this is why I've held on to YMAG. This is actually why I have a pretty large position in YMAG, is that compared to the NASDAQ, it's actually up 34% overall with dividends reinvested, compared to the NASDAQ being up 27%. And even without dividends being reinvested, the overall total return is still higher than the NASDAQ. This is why I really have had this become one of my big positions in my portfolio, is because it's a pretty solid player to begin with. So of course the YMAG only covers the top 7 stocks, and NASDAQ actually covers a way more broad range, but this is the closest you're gonna get to compare the two funds to something. So overall, I like this one. But to sum up everything, what I'm doing next week here, guys, keeping this straightforward. Oh, sorry guys, hold on, I'm gonna close this. Whoopsies. Okay. So, sum up everything next week. Next week, I'm looking to sell out my whole NVIDIA position, and then I'm gonna use that capital here to run up a position into SMCY, and then there's also a chance I possibly sell 15% of MSTY, depending on how Bitcoin performs this next week. If next week, it just all depends. It really all depends how this next week turns out. But overall, I'm looking to get out of NVIDIA, move into SMCY. This is going to be a really good play, in my opinion. I think we're going to see a pretty good amount of income coming in here from these funds. But not only that, I'm really excited because I'm starting to really get some core funds hammered out here. I mean, we're going to be having YMAG as a core fund, maybe LFGY, not really a core fund, I would say, but XDTE being one of our two. These are going to be our 2 core funds, and that will put us at like a hedged position of almost, what is that, 4, or I can't do the math, 53% hedged. So that means we'll be able to have some fun with these other high momentum players like SMCY and MSTY, it will kind of balance our portfolio in case something catastrophically happens with these funds or I fail to get out of them. These funds will kind of back me up a little bit. So hopefully that all made sense today, guys. Hopefully my plan made sense. If it didn't even make sense to you guys, that's okay. This is just what I plan to do. But I also want to hear your guys' opinions down below, because I truly value everyone's advice. I do not get all worked up over someone giving me good advice or saying that this is an absolutely terrible plan, because I like to learn and continue to grow. I don't hate on anyone for having an idea. I don't ban anyone for having an idea. I like to just get a good idea from everyone. So anyways, thank you so much, and have a good day, everyone.